Welcome back to the Let's Talk About It show. I'm your host, Peter Abbarno, here on AM1470 KELA and KELAAM.com. I'm very excited to have three individuals here, maybe two and a half, because one of them is my son, Antonio, talk about Centralia Youth Basketball, which was a great program that so many students and kids participated over the last season. A huge addition to athletics in our community in Centralia. And I have two amazing individuals here who made it all possible. So why don't you introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Katie Taylor. I'm the PE teacher at Oakview Elementary, and I'm one of the coordinators and director of Centralia Youth Basketball.
My name is Denis Faber. I volunteer as an official, even though this year I did sit out because I had knee replacement in December, but I help Katie out wherever I can.
And so tell me, how did you get started with Centralia Youth Basketball? Because it seemed like, although there's always been parks and recs and other types of basketball around, this kind of exploded this year into a huge program with a lot of kids participating. Katie?
Yeah, so last year, actually, I sat down with Tim Ahern, our new athletic director, and was just kind of bouncing some ideas off of him about starting something with our 5 elementary schools. Rex Ashmore talked to Lisa Grant, our superintendent, and really just wanted to do Saturday basketball, what we used to have all the time with Coach Brown, Coach Ron Brown, if you guys remember him. A huge legend here. We decided to just play all 5 elementary schools against each other and went from literally running from the ground, starting from the very beginning to the top as fast as we could. It happened real fast, though.
Well, and it was pretty cool because not only did Antonio participate in with the Oakview team, which was a lot of fun, but also my 2 stepkids were coaches as part of the program. So you roped in a lot of folks from the community and a lot of individuals in their 20s, this new young generation of volunteers, coordinators, community activists, and I'm super excited by seeing so much youth around this new program.
Absolutely. Being a PE teacher at one of the elementary schools makes it really a lot easier of knowing who likes to do what they're comfortable with. In basketball, for instance, not just Centralia Athletics, but I know, Tyler Gedney, one of your kiddos, and Emily. But there was a lot of people, a lot of volunteers, a lot of teachers in every 5 elementary schools who really stepped up. And so, I get the recognition for it, but really they're the ones that wanted to volunteer, and it was pretty easy doing it that way.
So, Denis, in your experience, I mean, you've been around these types of programs before. Was there something a little different about this one in terms of the energy and excitement? It seemed like it from an outsider looking in, especially when you attended the championship and you had like hundreds of parents there. It was pretty amazing to see the kind of the energy in Centralia.
Yeah, it's good to see the orange and black come back. And Centralia is a very proud community, and what Katie has done in the last 2 years with this Centralia Youth Basketball and all the volunteers is bring the pride back. Mm-hmm. Orange and black is back, is like what I like to say. But the program has, in 2 years, has grown leaps and bounds. Katie and I were out in the lobby talking, and I believe back in early days, they actually the elementary schools played against each other, and we see some trophies in the trophy cases at some of the schools where they have done this in the past. In the early days.
And you do a lot of officiating in the past. But I mean, you had knee surgery, so you took a season off. But, I mean, it was great seeing, I think Rex Ashmore was out there. There were other folks officiating out there. It looked like they were having fun, too.
Oh, yeah. So we had Ken Olson. He was actually my fast pitch coach back in the day for 19 years at Centralia, huge Centralia guy. Henry Weeks comes in and volunteers, twice. We have 3 games a night. And with the tournament, it was just amazing to see all the volunteers and the people from our community coming back. I'm very grateful. And when I say that, it's not just volunteers, we have parent volunteers doing clockwork. We have high school kids coming and helping, getting them involved. But really the quality, I think what sets us apart from what we've had in the past is the quality people that really want to be here. Yeah. I think that's a big difference that I've seen the last 2 years.
And with officiating, Denis, I mean, officiating is kind of a tough job nowadays.
Yes, it is. There's been several times in my 20-plus years that I've officiated for the WOA that sometimes you just want to go up there and give them the shirt off your back and have them come out and do it. We had Riker Gronseth help us this year. Jacob Corsi, some of my fellow WOA officials. Riker's actually going to go to Spokane this week and do the state 2B tournament. So very proud of Riker. He's a Centralia born and bred boy. So he'll be over there doing the 2B tournament. Yeah. So that I take pride in that, seeing Riker over there.
And from your experience looking at these kids who are all elementary school age, there was some good talent out there.
Oh yeah. Antonio for one, watching him go around those cones Saturday during the halftime of the boys' game was amazing. Seeing their dribbling for a third grader, I believe, right?
No, he's in fourth grade.
Grader.
I mean, he looks like a third grader.
He's in the third and fourth grade league. Is what he's in.
Yeah, so but it was there's some amazing talent coming up through Centralia.
Yeah.
Something I want to say, the quality, we talk about that. Centralia Youth Basketball, our refs really blow the whistle. And that can be kind of frustrating at first with third and fourth grade league, but because they blow the whistle, that's how these kids learn. Yeah. So to see the growth from the very first game to the fifth game, in the third and fourth grade league actually was, the Oakview, your son, they were undefeated, which is pretty fun.
Yeah.
But all around, all the teams. We had 26 teams involved. We have, a girls' league, boys' league for 5th and 6th grade, a girls' and boys' league for 3rd and 4th grade, and just the quality and the improvement they had because we had refs that would blow the whistle and set that bar because that's how they learn from the games. Yeah. So that was something I was very proud of, and our refs should be very proud of.
And if you're just tuning into the Let's Talk About It show on AM1470 KELA and KELAAM.com, I'm your host, Peter Abbarno, with special guests from Centralia Youth Basketball. Katie and Dennis are here, and maybe we'll hear from one of the players in a little bit, too, Antonio, who played for the Oakview team. You're right. You pointed out something really interesting about learning, because this is a kind of league where the kids are making that adjustment from past years where there was no pressure. Right? And even then there's a little less pressure here, but you're actually calling fouls and the kids are learning all about fouls, which normally you don't do until you get a little older. So that was something that was pretty unique in this league, and it didn't slow the game down. It actually made it pretty exciting because there were a bunch of overtime games. Absolutely.
Yes, there were. And my partner, Rex Ashmore, he oversees the girls, I oversee the boys. We have, Tim Ahern, who oversees all of it. Our athletic director, but Rex and I joke around all the time about, I say blow the whistle and he says let him play, and then we have Denis Faber over here who, Katie, calm down, it's okay, it's okay if you stepped over the line, they're volunteers, so we have a good time within all of us, that are volunteering and having fun, bringing different things to the table for the program.
Yeah, and you mentioned the girls' teams. How many girls' teams did you have, and how many boys' teams did you have? Do you know offhand?
Oh gosh, 8 boys and 7 girls for the 5th and 6th grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about 3rd and 4th?
We had one for each school representing, so 5 girls, 5 boys.
So that's a lot of teams.
Yeah.
That was a lot. So and each one fully stocked with players?
Oh, yeah. I mean, some of them, and how we do the subbing makes it a little difficult. But when you have 12 kids on a team, that can be hard. Oakview, for instance, we had 2 boys teams, actually, because they had so many kids involved that wanted to be a part of it, which, of course, makes me proud because I teach over there. But you see Washington Elementary with Joe Mano. He had so many kids on his team. He coached all of it. He did 5-6 boys. He did 5-6 4-6. No, excuse me, 3rd and 4th grade as well. So he could only have one team, and that, I mean, it makes it harder when you have 12 kids. But they're stocked. Yeah.
So what do you have? About 150, 200 kids?
250 kids this year.
Wow.
And we had 220 for our very first year last year, 225. And they signed up in a week this year. So
you are giving Centralia Youth Soccer quite a run for its money, because normally that's probably the most players the most teams and players usually go through that soccer program, but this is huge.
Well, and I'd say with Centralia Youth Soccer, they've done a great job of just knowing, like, our community knows it's there. Mm-hmm. And so something that we're building from Centralia School District or Centralia programs is what's really there and what's available. And I think, again, I get a lot of the recognition for it, but it just comes down to once the Centralia School District provided it for our community and we let them know, hey, there's a flyer going in from your PE teacher or from your school, sign up. We got the high school or the homeschool families involved. We got the Centralia Christian. If you are a Centralia resident, you have an opportunity to play. Yeah. And once we provided that, they signed up. Those parents got those kids involved.
Yeah.
So
which is really amazing, and it's good for families. I always talk about building stronger communities through building stronger families, and what I saw, which was really nice to see, is a lot of families involved in this program. They were there at the practices, they're there at the games, they're there at the championship, they're all cheering on. It was great to see just that involvement from Centralia families.
Absolutely. And what's really fun is with our 3rd and 4th grade league, because it's all volunteer, we tried to encourage parent volunteers for clockwork and scorekeeping once every game. They played on Wednesdays, and we always had people signing up. And that's important because you get families involved when they're that young. That's the expectation as they get older, and it's bringing pride and camaraderie and everyone to come back together.
Yeah. What's really amazing about Centralia Youth Basketball this year, too, is you see traditionally across the nation participation kind of going down in terms of struggling to have coaches and referees. I mean, you have players, but we're struggling to get coaches and refs and volunteers involved. But you most certainly didn't have that problem this year, and we want to make sure that that doesn't happen in the future. So is there a website somebody can go to, or is there a contact that if people are listening to this right now, they don't even want to wait till the end of the show? They're like, you know what, I'm going to go online and start looking this up and see how I can get involved.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, currently, we do have the Centralia Youth Basketball Facebook page and Centralia Youth Basketball Instagram page, and that's only because, me running it, it's easier for me. We have catteam.org, CAATEAM.org. Which is all 13 vendors for Centralia Youth Sports. We did a Parent Connect rally at the Hub in September. So every single sport, not just basketball, is on this webpage. Yeah. It's up there. You can still find it right now. It's just not updated exactly at this moment because we're in the works of trying to figure out, is Centralia School District running that? Is that going to be an outside source? We're still working on that with Tim Ahern and Lisa Grant, our superintendent.
Which is really cool. Now, Katie, I don't want to bring up open up some wounds, but tell us a little bit about where you played basketball.
Oh, there's no wounds there. Actually, that's probably why I'm so passionate about this. Yeah. I went to Centralia. I graduated in 2013. Yep. I had Mark Wesley as a coach. Yep. Loved that man when I was younger. And then Tom Kelly he came my senior year. Yeah. And we were one game away, from regionals, which we never thought, Centralia hasn't played for girls basketball anyway since 2006 in state. Well, when you don't provide a youth program, right, you start to see what happens. So that's the past, though. We're talk about the new.
But that's exactly what I was talking about. It's kind of like, we've always kind of struggled. We've always been, Centralia's always been on kind of that edge with some of their team. And they've had success for sure. But you're right. I mean, you have to have that pipeline feeding up to create success at the high school level.
Right. And a lot of times it comes from, you see from successful programs all around here from the top down, right? A high school coach giving their all for kindergarten through 12th grade. But I think because of the way that things are going around, we're kind of going from the ground up and the top down. And that's kind of with my passion with K through 6th grade. That's kind of my role. And then we have a huge support system with Tim Ahern being the athletic director at the high school. So he's getting a lot of people involved, and it's, again, becoming quality and not quantity, and that's important.
Yeah, and Dennis, do you agree? I mean, are you seeing that too? Kind of the kind of the upswell of to really have success at the high school level. It starts with what you two are doing, and everyone else with Centralia Youth Basketball, kind of starting to build that talent from the ground up, get kids excited about it.
Yeah, when I was a kid, we had, like Katie mentioned earlier, we had Saturday basketball that Coach Brown and Marv Harshman would come down, and the high school kids would coach the teams, and we lacked that for 10, 12 years. And now we're back. Katie's got this organization going, and our future continues to groom, to get better with the amount of kids that we have in this program.
Yeah.
What I'd say, though, too, with Centralia School District, we have 5 elementary schools. We have 5 PE teachers, right? Yeah. So these 5 PE teachers are working together to also, again, put their curriculum. We do basketball right before our programs. So then they have a little bit of a taste. It's the very beginning of being introduced to that sport, getting those kids excited. You get those kids excited about whatever it is. They go home to their parents. They talk about, hey, I want to do this. I want to do gymnastics. I want to do basketball. I want to do fast pitch. I want to do... But it's really getting those kids to believe in what they want to do first and getting that initial feel And then from there, it kind of just takes off.
Yeah, you guys are starting their fundamentals in the elementary schools. Yeah. That's, Katie mentioned it, the 5 elementary PE teachers all have to be congratulated on this for going all in, all on board. So it's impressive.
Well, and you talk about passion, and I'm kind of laughing because I'm thinking about the video I saw of Edison carrying the trophy down the hallway, and all the kids, every kid in Edison, of course this has to be Josh Lowe, right? He's got every kid out in the hallway, and they're carrying this trophy down the hallway, and you can just see it. I mean, those kids are walking into that school like heroes.
Oh,
right?
They really are. And it's so, it talks about like basketball and sports in general, the confidence that it brings.
Yeah.
Those kids at first, you can tell they don't even know what the winning mentality looks like. So now they're getting this taste. Then they have all these little kids coming out, and they're getting exciting and high-fiving them. Now they have role models. They have a reason to, stand tall. Right now you might think it's Centralia Youth Basketball just a rec league, but to these kids, this is everything, and that's where it starts. So it is just a rec league right now, but it's just going to build from here.
Yeah, and it's much different than the past rec leagues. I mean, it's so much more organized and professionally done. But let's hear from the horse's mouth someone who is not shy of any confidence or swagger. Antonio, you played youth basketball this year, right?
Yeah.
How'd you enjoy it?
I liked it a lot.
Yeah, what'd you like about it?
Spending time with my friends.
Yeah, and did you find that you built a lot of confidence in basketball, because you hadn't played a lot of basketball in the past, maybe just in a rec league here or there?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just nodding your head. Yeah. And Katie's probably got a question for you.
I do. I have a question, Antonio. What did you do during halftime of the championship game for the 5th and 6th grade?
I ran through cones to find out. So we did this little thing where this guy timed all of us, where we run through cones and we do a layup, and then we run as fast as we can, pass it to the guy, and he passes it back, and we lay up again.
Right, and now it's called the Skills Challenge, and you got to represent, right, your school because you got the best time at practice. Is that what happened? Did you have to do it at practice first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how'd you do for Oakview?
I got second place.
Second place, yeah. And did it give you a little bit more confidence? Or were you already just exuding a ton of confidence and machismo already?
Yeah, it gave me a little more confidence.
And the friends you made, what about those friends, right?
I made a new friend, Jacoby.
Yeah.
And Esty, and a lot of other people.
Yeah, and you had a lot of fun?
Yeah.
And are you going to play Centralia Youth Basketball again next year when the league opens up again?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And do you want to thank Katie for helping, and Dennis for helping get it all scheduled?
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. You are so welcome, buddy. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think he's a perfect example. As a parent, I was super excited to see him come home and not just talk about winning, even though he could have, because, as you said, his team was undefeated. It was a good team. But he talked about the most important thing that he came home with was what he learned and the new friends he made. And to me, that is so important.
Absolutely. I mean, sports in general, and of course basketball because I'm passionate about it, but it just teaches these kids how to be a good human being, the characteristics of what it takes. Sportsmanship, we always do. I don't know. Did you ever see the Sportsmanship and the Hustle Award?
Yeah. Which were awesome.
Yeah, which, by the way, donated by Tom Alderson at Awards West. So that was all donated. That was so then these kids can identify, first of all, recognize what sportsmanship is and what hard work is. And once they start seeing what that looks like and who they want to be, and then they start striving for it, not just to get that medal, but they're being recognized by the other team, their opponents. It's not by the coaches. It's not by myself or Tim or anyone else. Those players vote at the very end of who showed the most sportsmanship on the other team and who showed the most hustle.
Yeah.
That was pretty amazing.
That is amazing because it's not coach driven. It's player driven, and it's them recognizing other people, and it kind of helps them pull away the pride, kind of the ego, and say it's about that person, which I love seeing that.
Absolutely. And let's just talk about, they all want it, right? So you talk about the ego. When these kids are trying to play, everyone wants to be the best, and we're human. But at the end of the day, seeing those other kids recognize who really deserves it, and it's not just this person hasn't got it yet, let's give it to them. They really just think their own opinion, who gave their best, who really worked hard, and that's, some of these kids on different teams got 3 awards, hustle awards, and we decided as a program, do we take that away from them? Do we try to manipulate? No. If a kid gets 3 in 3 different games from 3 different teams, that identifies them when they're young, and that's important. That's where the confidence builds.
Which is amazing. And Antonio, did you win a hustle award?
I won 3.
And you did. And what did you do with one of them?
I gave it away to my friend
who was showing hustle. And again, when he told me that, I was like, I don't know if at like 10 years old, I would have given my hustle awards away, but he identified he got 3 and he knew one of his friends didn't, but hustled. So he gave him the hustle award. And I love that. And
it's from him. No one's telling him to do that. You as a parent didn't do that. Me or his coach did not tell him to do that, because I feel like that's important. If it's from the kid who wants to give to someone else, like, that's from his heart, that says a lot about your son. You should be very proud.
Well, I am, and I'm excited about the program as well. I mean, because you learn that from the program, because it's a lot of like volunteering, right? I'm always very thankful for organizations that give me an opportunity to volunteer, because without those opportunities, I wouldn't. So, Noni, did you want to say something?
I wanted to say, I had really fun, and thank you for doing this.
Oh, you are so welcome, buddy. Anytime. I'll see you next year for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And this summer in the gym, right? You're going to come to open gyms?
Probably, yeah.
Just say, yes, Coach, yes, I'll be there.
Yes, Coach, I'll be there.
No, probably.
Running lines. Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. It's the organization that gives out these hustle awards, teaches them that it's about you giving it to another player that gave him probably the idea to give it away, saying, hey, he didn't have one and they hustled, I want to give it to him. So really, I mean, it's the organization that helps do that.
Yeah.
So... Denis, it's got to kind of warm your heart. I mean, I know that, having lived in Centralia now, not as long as you all, but I've been there for well over a decade. I've not seen in youth sports, and I love youth sports, I've not seen kind of the excitement happen like this. I mean, it's got to kind of warm your heart that they've got these hustle awards and the kids are giving them out, and it's good for the program.
Yeah. Like I said, born and bred Centralia boy. Came up through the 80s as a big squirt from Centralia, went in the state football, basketball, and baseball championship in 2 years. Mm-hmm. That I'm smiling from ear to ear thanks to Katie, Tim, Rex, and all the volunteers at Centralia Youth Basketball.
Yeah. So, Katie, you teach at Oakview. How do you like that?
Oh, it's the best thing. Yeah. It is. I love it. I love those kids. I love their families.
Well, she's following a legend.
Yeah.
Chris Paff?
And Chris Paff.
Yeah.
So she's following a legend. So how could you not like being a PE teacher at Oakview School when you follow the legend?
Yeah. So you love it. You love working with the kids in Centralia.
Oh yeah. So I was at the Christian school for 4 years.
Yep.
And I knew my heart. I mean, I had to get my degree. I had to make sure I can be able to work at a public school. But I've always wanted to work in a public school. And since I was in 2005, I was in 5th grade.
Yeah.
Chris Paff was my PE teacher. At that time, I didn't know I wanted to be a PE teacher. I had LeBaron, she was my 5th grade teacher, and I knew I wanted to be a teacher. But not until 7th grade, it was like, I want to be a PE teacher. Physical education, that is it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And, look, Centralia, you can't ignore the fact that Centralia has had some struggles. They've had recent levy loss. But, my wife teaches in Centralia. You teach in Centralia. Denis, you're in Centralia. We're all in Centralia. I mean, it seems like despite some of the speed bumps, there's a lot of really good bright spots to invest in Centralia.
Absolutely. I think, if we're being real transparent, there was a lot of trust broken.
Yeah.
I'm young enough to really, I would say that I've missed a lot of knowledge. There's a lot of things that I'm learning for the last couple of years that I've been here, and really just listening to other people's point of view, from homeschool families, from the Christian school families, from people here in our own school district. At the end of the day, there's some trust broken, and there's questions. And so to see the leadership that we have now, and people being transparent is very important to me.
Yeah.
Just in general. And so I'm very excited to see where we're going, because we can't take back the past. We can't go there. We do know we just, had the levy fail, and I can't control that. And we can only control where we're at right now. And I know for sure, talking to Tim Ahern, we don't plan on not having this program in the future, regardless of what happens. So that means that we're all volunteering our time again. These kids will have an opportunity. Yeah,
and Dennis, I mean, there's few greater, if not any greater investment than in our kids and in our education and making sure that they have opportunities to be successful. You have to, and you've mentioned this earlier, so I'm kind of bringing it back up. I mean, this is kind of the ship turning, right? There's a lot of new bright spots in the district. Katie's one of them. This program's another one where people can look to and say, well, maybe they are worth investing in now.
Yeah, that's correct. I deliver the food for Centralia School District, so I'm in and out of every school that's within our district, and so I try to make it a point to wave at kids when I'm driving my truck, or honk. A few of them at Edison like to try to race me down the street, but I'll let them know that I beat them by honking my horn or something like that. But and I dress up as Buddy the Elf for Christmas, before Christmas break. So I'm a born and bred Centralia boy, like I've said before, and I have a lot of fun, and we will be back.
Well, I appreciate